Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another video reading chapter 11 of Hermitcraft Genesis. We are just reading chapter 11 today because it's a long chapter. So, yeah. Next week we could probably go into chapter 12, maybe chapter 13, but for now I will focus on reading chapter 11. And if we do have more time, I can read on chapter 12. I recorded like 40 minutes of footage just so that I could get this down. We'll see how long it actually takes. I just want to be sure so I don't miss anything. Yeah, let's get right into the video. Chapter 11. Remember, Grian pulled Impulse into the base, with Scar rolling right behind him. Keep the shield up until we're fully inside. Grian looked over his shoulder, seeing Scar give him a simple nod. Grian turned his attention to Impulse when the older hermit let out another groan of pain. Come on, let's get you to Haley. I'm fine, Grian. Impulse coughed, his face gone a few shades paler. Impulse stumbled as Grian lurched forward to catch him. Haley! Grian looked up as one of the bedroom doors slammed open. Haley immediately ran to Grian's side, helping support Impulse's weight. Is anyone else hurt? She and I are fine, Scott said calmly, his smile flickering as he pushed the front door shut. Pearl's protector was hurt, Grian managed, not looking the girl in the eye. I'm not sure. Figure this out, Haley said gently, as they carried Impulse into the sleepover room. The room was nearly empty. Eliza was still fast asleep in her bed. The only person in the room. Where is everyone? Grian frowned, trying not to look at the sleeping girl. Upstairs, preparing defenses, Haley replied, nodding over to a bed as Grian helped Impulse take a seat. Kate is with them. Grian nodded, seeing the girl head to a nearby shulker box. The hermit sat next to Impulse on the bed, putting a hand on his forehead. You're warm. Fine, Impulse repeated, shivering as he said it. His eyes looked hazy, almost purple, in the moonlight. Grian's eyes widened as he looked Impulse up and down. He could see where the fireball had grazed the hermit's right side, not his left. We need an antidote, Grian told Haley with alarm, as the girl stood, holding a glass bottle with a golden liquid inside. Already ahead of you, G, she replied, crouching on Impulse's other side, examining the cut. Fortunately, it's not deep. Grian sighed in relief as Haley offered the potion. At first, Impulse was reluctant to take it, but relented when the girl insisted. Impulse downed the potion in just a couple of big gulps, letting out another groaning sigh. Now to band you up, Haley told the hermit cheerfully, placing the empty bottle on the nightstand as she reached back into the box, pulling out a bandage. What about? Impulse mumbled. The others have it under control, Haley encouraged. And if they need me, I'll be there. Impulse managed a weak smile, nodded slowly, his dark eyes moving over to where Eliza was sleeping. The smile faded. She's okay. Grian wrapped an arm around Grian. Excuse me, let's try that again. Grian wrapped an arm around his friend's shoulders. Plural. That would be weird to wrap your arm around one shoulder. Don't try to imagine that. I'm sure Skids could do it. It looks worse than it is. What happened? Impulse said softly. Someone decided it would be a good idea to take a shot at her when she was getting Clara. Haley replied simply, carefully wrapping a secure bandage over the cut. It's been a wild 2 days, Grian sighed, looking over at the door to see Scar still at the doorframe. You need me to do anything? Scar asked hesitantly to the girl. Don't go far, Haley told him firmly. Scar gave her a stunning smile. I'll try not to get surprised again. They at least didn't mess with my invisibility detector. Really? Impulse mused sleepily. Yeah. I don't think Trevor knew what it was, Scar giggled, turning off his force field. He took everything else, though. I can replace it, Impulse insisted, starting to stand when Haley pushed him gently back down. First, you get some rest, she said firmly. Impulse's eyes were starting to droop as the hermit opened his mouth to protest. I mean it. You're sick. The antidote needs time to work. And once the poison is out of your system, I'll let you do whatever you want. Impulse closed his eyes. Why did she need to get Clara? Eliza? Grian bit his bottom lip, glancing over at Scar. He could see a similar question flowing just behind his eyes. Already taken care of it. What? Impulse muttered before he collapsed into Grian's arms, sound asleep. Grian helped him into the bed as Haley tucked him in. How are you doing on sleep, Scar? Haley looked over at the hermit. I'm not sure if I want to sleep. Scar stifled a yawn. It wouldn't hurt to give it a try, Haley suggested, crossing the room to stand next to Scar. It's been a long day for you. I can see if anyone can get Jelly to keep you company. Scar's eyes lit up at his fellow friend's name as Grian spoke. I could get her. No, the girl shook her head. You are not going up there alone. Not after what happened. But I wouldn't be alone, Grian insisted. Haley met his gaze, a hint of a smile forming on her face. I know. It's just I don't want to risk it when we don't know what she's capable. Glass shattered, followed by a scream. Grian's blood ran cold as Haley bolted to the main hall, heading for the ladder before she hesitated. Don't wait for us, Scar told her encouragingly. She's got a gas blister on him. No one can catch us. Grian caught a hint of relief on the girl's eyes. Don't move a muscle. Then she was gone. Grian sat down. Lately just went off over the break. Yeah, chapter continues. And this is where it gets long. Yeah, nothing wrong with a long chapter. It's just how it is. Grian sat down in his chair beside Eliza's bed as Scar rested away into the room. Everything had gone quiet now. No sounds of shouts or commotion upstairs, or the faint sound of explosions outside. At least the place won't burn down, Grian reminded himself. They had made the walls of the base blast resistant to protect it from another aerial attack. In turn, it meant that the waterlogged walls wouldn't burn either. They would be safe in here, so long as no one was able to get inside and find them, slipping past all the security that the cause had worked so hard to set up, with Impulse and Beat-ups lending a hand. Do you know what's going on out there, G? Grian looked up, seeing his friend's frown, meeting his gaze. Not entirely, Grian admitted, fiddling with his thumbs, apart from the fact that she really wants to meet us. She? Scar raised an eyebrow, watching him intently from across the sleeping girl. He looked over at the ceiling before adding, Shelley wasn't up there, was she? Grian flinched. I mean, we made a room up there for both of you. The girls felt it'd be nice to give Jelly a room. A smile formed on Scar's face. I'm sure she's fine. Yeah, Grian chuckled. After everything we've been through, no one has intentionally gone after the cat. They wouldn't dare, Scar said dangerously, brushing his hand nonchalantly over the compartments of his wheelchair. Even though it was empty, Grian held back a shudder, wave of unease crashing down on him, seeing the dark expression on his friend's face. No, they wouldn't, Grian said. Scar gave the hermit a curt nod, and he looked back toward the main room. The sleepover room door was still wide open. Shadows casted by the overhead lamps sent a shiver through him. What were the chances something or someone was out there, waiting for a moment such as this? 3 hermits were alone with a recovering teen. It's possible, he chastised. We would see if they were invisible, wouldn't we? So what is this she you keep talking about? Scar offered lightly, putting his hands on his lap. Are you sure you aren't tired? Grian raised an eyebrow. Of course I'm tired. Scar flashed a smile. But there's no point resting when I know there's fun to be had out there. Grian shook his head. I don't know much about her. Just Dr. Rhinestone, a friend of Stephen's. Works for her. Scar nodded. And then she wants to meet us. What does she want with me? Grian wrung his hands together anxiously, looking out the window. There was no sign of the men attempting to come from around back. With beat-ups. Make it some beat-ups, Scar pointed out. This Dr. Rainstone person would know what experiments Dr. Royster did on him. Hit on you too? Grian bit his bottom lip, not meeting his friend's gaze. Why me? I don't know anything. Scar didn't say anything for a moment as Grian looked over at him. He was lost in thought. Got a lot of connections. Know a lot of things. Grian shrugged. So do you, Impulse, Beat-Up, Gem, Pearl, Doc, Tango, and every other person here. Why is that such a big deal? Not a clue, Scar admitted. The Eliminator is gone too, so it can't be that. Robot destroyed anything and everything he could. Tightness squeezed Grian's chest, tears stung his eyes. Remembering the artificial intelligence that he had created with his best friend, Mumbo, Grombat had sacrificed himself to stop a more corrupt and evil AI from destroying everything. I am recapping this for the people who don't watch Hermitcraft. Because, that happens. Some of this explanation is stuff a lot of you would already know, but few of you might not. Well, that's fine. Most people who watch me are probably Lovely World fans. And I haven't talked about Lovely World in a while. Only because there's not much to talk about at the moment. So I'll have to start over from scratch. Doesn't seem worth it, knowing how easy they are to defeat. Scar giggled. Are we talking about the same machine here? Says the same machine that almost killed me. Grian eyed his friend before cracking a smile. Scar returned the smile. Felt reassuring to see his friend. To know he was okay. The shine was still in his green eyes. Confidence, courage. He knew so well. They didn't hurt you too badly? Grian asked hopefully. Not physically. Scar rubbed the back of his head as he said it. Trevor showed me horrible things. My worst fears on a whole new horrifying level. Grian swallowed. I'm always here if you want to talk about it. I know. Scar smiled, just as the front door of the base opened. Grian looked up as a group filed in. First came the boys, then Clara and Matthias right behind them. Grian watched, full of dread, when he saw each of them come back empty-handed. Behind them, he saw Haley and another figure stumbling into the main room. Hermit stood. He tried, a small voice spoke as Grian ran over to his friends. Scar right behind him. He could see Kate under Haley's arm, and the girl's green eyes were wide. Well, I don't think we need ads here. Nice little punctuation thing. Casual. Splitting up the sentence. The girl's green eyes were wide. They were too fast. I couldn't. It's okay, Haley whispered, brushing tears from the young dean's face. It's good that she tried. Even Gem and Pearl tried to stop them, but there were too many, Katie insisted. And Shh. Haley hushed the girl, pulling her close into a hug. What happened? Grian asked. Haley closed the door behind her. Well, maybe somebody else closed the door behind. I don't think we need to know that. I can't just say that once. Magician here. While we were distracted out front, someone decided to sneak onto the roof and attack Kate and the hermits, Clara said. Her piercing blue eyes were full of concern. They've been taken. Taken? Fear shot through Grian as he took a step back. Assassins came from the sky. They came at me while I was trying to free. Kate shivered as she shook her head. See where they were. I blacked out. You shouldn't have had to do that all by yourself. Clara assured her gently as Kate pushed away from the older teen. But Jim and Pearl are the best fighters, Kate insisted, tears falling down her face. And they'll keep fighting, Scar said defiantly. We'll find them. We don't even know where they went. Kate's bottom lip trembled. Do you know where they tried to take me and beat Bubbles before? Grian reminded her, seeing a spark of hope in her eyes. Maybe we can. You are not going down there, Grian, Clara said firmly. I will send a team down there to take a look. You and your friends stay up here where it's safe. But I know you want to help your friends, she said, her tone softening. But she was after you too. The last thing I want to do is to bring you directly to her. Understood? Grian nodded reluctantly, shoulders slumping in defeat. Kate's eyes flashed with determination. I'll go. It's my fault they're in this mess. It's not your fault, Haley snapped. But Kate was unmoved. 13 or not, Miss Kimberly, I will not have you go down there either, Clara warned. Grian caught a nod from Liam as well. There was no argument. We don't know what we might find on the other side of that tunnel. And I don't think any of your friends would want to put you in any danger trying to help them. I want to help, Kate insisted, stomping a foot on the ground for emphasis. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Helping in times like these? A sad look clouded Clara's eyes as she knelt before the teen. She gently placed a hand on Kate's shoulder. If you promise me not to go down there, can I count on you to do it? Kate stared at the woman for a long moment, her gaze fierce as a burning flame. I'm not promising anything. Clara let out a sigh, standing to her feet. I'm going to call for backup. Think about it, okay? I want you to consider what you're asking to do. I want to, Caitlin said. Grian saw a smile form on both Liam and Haley's faces in unison. I did it before when we went to help Liam and the gem in Lovely World. I'll do it again, even if I have to do it myself. Claire looked over at Liam with a sad smile. Were you like this your first time? Yes, ma'am, Liam mused. Claire nodded, patting Kate on the shoulder. Let me think about it then. You do some thinking too. I'm going to have the hermits keep an eye on you to make sure you don't run off. But, Kate protested, her shoulders slumped as she nodded. Okay. Thank you, Clara told the girl with a smile, nodding over at Grian and Scar before she turned to the kitchen. Grian gestured for the young girl to follow, as the other teens headed toward the meeting area to talk about what was going on. Would you stop me if I tried to get going down the elevator? Kate asked Hermit softly, walking astride. Reluctantly, yes, Grian admitted. I care about you, Kate. None of us want to see you get hurt. And after what happened today? The girl deflated. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I know you are, Grian whispered, glancing over at Scar. We both do. And we can plan for the worst, but sometimes the enemy does something we don't expect. We have to deal with it. What does she want with them? Kate asked softly as they arrived at the sleepover room. Grian closed his eyes, letting out a heavy sigh. Clearly, nothing good. How about this? Scar and I will try to reach them, and if we get anything, we'll tell Clara together. Hope flickered in the girl's eyes as she smiled, giving the hermit a nod. Deal. Grian ruffled the girl's dark auburn hair playfully before taking a seat by Impulse's bed. Looked over at Scar, seeing him roll to the bed by the window. Clear out there? Scar peeked over at the window. See anything? Scar smiled over at Grian before moving his attention to the young teen. We'll find. Kate nodded, taking a seat next to Eliza. The girl let out a yawn. She looked down at the floor. Did the mission go well, Scar? Her small voice startled Scar for a moment before he nodded. I'm here, aren't I? Yeah. No, I mean, did you catch him? Did you get Campbell? She twiddled her fingers on her lap. Yeah, we got him. Scar replied. He was planning to send in an army and everything to try and steal the Wonder Gem, but we got him in the end. Trevor? Grian frowned. He tried reinforcing the force field when his headband was on a high voltage. Scar bit his bottom lip. Safe to say, it did not end well for him. Serious anger issues. Kate let out a small giggle before it instantly fell away. Should be laughing. Hey, it's okay, Grian offered, getting to his feet as he crossed the room. It's healthy to have a little humor. Makes the darkest time just a little easier. You think so? She met his gaze hopefully. I think Scar is so strong. Scar's so strong. Grian smirked at the girl. He's been through so much. We all have. And he's still cracking jokes. It's not easy, Scar admitted simply. But I know what matters to me, and it's my family. Do anything for them. I'm glad you feel the same. Kate wiped the remaining tears from her eyes as she smiled. You really think Clara will let me talk to my parents again? You can ask her, Grian encouraged. I'm sure they miss you as much as you miss them right now. Pulled the girl into a firm hug. I'm sure they're proud of what you're doing. But I haven't, she started, but her voice cracked. You have, Grian told her, pulling away. Made a room for Scar and Jelly with Haley and Eliza. He helped me with a little surprise for the girls to find later. Kate giggled at that. The Scar raised a curious eyebrow. I hope they like it. They will love it, Grian insisted. Get some rest, okay? I'll see if I can get in touch with Gem or beat-ups while you both sleep. I'll look for them in the dream world, Scar offered, starting to unstop himself from his wheelchair. Try not to overdo it, Grian encouraged. Why, I'm using encouraged to a lot in this chapter. Bye. As Kate got up and went over to the nearby bed as she crawled in. If you need help, let me know. Understanding filled Hermit's eyes as he nodded. Thank you, G. That's what I'm here for. Grian smiled brightly at his friend, watching him crawl into bed. Getting up to tuck Kate in. You better see you still here in the morning, Caitlin Kimberly. Better see you too. She winked at the hermit, then giggled again. Running off on my watch. Wouldn't dream of it. Grian teased, as her breathing slowed. He watched her for a long moment, for taking a seat beside Impulse's bed, clearing his mind as he focused on what he was about to do. And that, my friends, is chapter 11. Took about 23 minutes to read, which I suspected. And yeah, that's it for this video. We'll see a little bit more in the next one. And yeah, if you are wondering when a certain couple of hermits are going to show up, you still got a little bit of a wait. But I'll try to get to it as fast as I can. Yes, they are coming. It's not a spoiler. They are coming. I've already said they're coming. Yeah. See, Joel wasn't hard to do. It was easy to get in here. Just this problem. I figured it out. Yeah, I figured it out. And I'm still figuring out the ending of this book. Just doing what I do. But yeah, this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one next week. Or whenever you decide to show back up. Because you never know, you might end up seeing an episode later. Because there's a lot more to go. We have a long way to go yet. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye!